Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. Mark Causey here from Black Cat Comics in Rockin' Milpitas. Every Wednesday is New Comic Day and I like to give you some great reasons to get down to your local comic shop and pick up something fun to read. It's a pretty small week this week, but as always, lots of great things to talk about. Gonna start with the Marvel guys because this is Spider-Man #1, starring Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man. Brian Michael Bendis bringing the character he created into the good old 616. If the 616 is still a thing after Secret Wars. Everybody's been waiting on this, so get down to your shop today because you don't want to miss out on this and you don't want to wait for a reprint. And in other Spidey news, Amazing Spider-Man #7. These awesome Alex Ross covers. That's Cloak and Dagger right there. A big fan of Cloak and Dagger, have been ever since their first appearance way back in the day. Good to see them back in comics. And Spidey, bit of a flashback title. Going back to the early days of Peter Parker. Fun stuff there. Uncanny X-Men #3 continues the relaunch of the staple X title. Cool Magneto cover there. Uncanny Avengers, one of my favorites. There's Gambit and Rogue, one of the great Marvel romances that we haven't seen for a little while. Sam Wilson, Captain America. My book of the week, because as you know, I dig anything Captain America. How about some Women of Marvel books? Here's A-Force. This one's been building a lot of momentum. I like anything with She-Hulk, so highly recommend picking this one up. Captain Marvel, one of Marvel's future movie stars. Scarlet Witch. This book's been really, really cool. You can read more about this in our newsletter this week. Big fan of the character. Really been enjoying this title. And her ex-husband has his own book too. This one might be flying under your radar a little bit. It's kind of quirky, kind of weird, but if you like things superhero but not necessarily, you know, villain of the week, slugfest kind of stuff, check this out because it's sort of interesting. New Deadpool book. Deadpool #1. Marvel's next big movie star. Everybody loves everything Deadpool. Invincible Iron Man from the aforementioned Brian Michael Bendis. If you're not an Iron Man fan, traditionally speaking, you may want to check this out because everything Bendis touches turns to gold. This is the first issue of the next story arc. You can read more about that one in our newsletter as well. Doctor Strange. Really stoked to see this guy get his own title. Again, he's going to be another big Marvel movie star next year. If you're not familiar with the character, this is a great time to check out his title. Cool story, cool art. Definitely not your usual superhero stuff. And how about the outer space guys like Rocket and Groot? Or Nova, which, as you can see from this Fantastic Four #1 homage cover, this book features some of the new popular favorites like Miss Marvel and Miles Morales in that one. Guardians of Infinity rounds out your space stuff. That's your other Guardians of the Galaxy book, of course. How about some Howard the Duck? I guess I wasn't done with your space stuff because there's Galactus right there on the cover. Never thought you'd see Howard take on Galactus. Reminds me of that Aunt May team up back in the day. Contest of Champions rounds out your Marvel Universe stuff. But of course, they do a little thing called Star Wars. This is Obi-Wan and Anakin #2. First issue flew off the shelf, like all these Star Wars books are. We've got reprints in #1 if you happen to have missed it. Definitely want to be checking those out. Huge week for the Marvel guys. Great week for DC, of course. Always a big week for The Bat. This is the latest issue of Detective Comics with your cool Neil Adams variant. Neil Adams covers are your B covers for the month, like last month was all the coloring books. This is Neil doing classic covers in his classic style. Don't get much more awesome than Neil Adams. That's Detective, Batman Europa, Batman Beyond, one of my favorite Bat titles. Batman and Robin Eternal is your weekly Bat book. Batgirl and We Are Robin rounds out your Bat stuff for the week. Always a big week for that guy. Green Arrow and Green Lantern don't get more classic than those two. If you jumped out of Green Lantern when Jeff Johns left, you're missing out. Book is Fast and Furious. Sci-fi action, cool stuff. Superman Action Comics, another Neil Adams variant there. Big Blue is real popular these days. A lot going on with the Superbooks, and more to come. Swamp Thing. Len Wein back on Swamp Thing. Len Wein is one of the all-time greats. So you should definitely grab the first issue and grab this week's number 2, because anything from Len Wein is worth reading. Midnighter rounds out your DC stuff. Co-starring the new Suicide Squad. A little Harley Quinn action there on the cover. And a good week for DC Vertigo. Sheriff of Babylon. Unfollow. And Survivors Club. We've been encouraging you guys to check out some of the new releases from Vertigo. Always a good idea. Not your superhero stuff that tends to be more sort of horror and genre fusion stuff. Sheriff of Babylon you can read more about in our newsletter this week too. Great week for the DC guys. Always fun stuff from my friends at Dark Horse. Joe Gollum, Occult Detective, always talking up Mike Mignola. This isn't Hellboy or BPRD related, but Mike Mignola is awesome. So if you like his other stuff, you want to check out Joe Gollum. If you don't know his other stuff, check out Joe Gollum anyway. Everybody should have a Dark Horse book on their list. Like Lone Wolf 2100, the futuristic version of Lone Wolf and Cub. The classic manga. Great stuff. And Angel and Faith is your Whedonverse book of the week. My favorite Whedonverse book. Big fan of Angel. Cool covers too. And a great week for Image. We've really been talking up Image Comics and the top-notch talent they have working for them these days. Walking Dead, probably the biggest non-Marvel DC comic out there. Don't need to tell you what that's all about. Paper Girls has just exploded recently. I can't keep this book in stock. I keep upping my orders. I keep reordering the previous issues. Brian K. Vaughan, guy who did Y the Last Man. Definitely want to be checking that out. Along with Pretty Deadly or Velvet from my man Ed Brubaker. I love anything Ed Brubaker. Great stuff there. And Mirror is your first issue, gotta have it book of the week. Like I was saying with Vertigo, always encouraging you guys to grab those first issues of Image books because you never know what they're going to turn into. Great stuff. And cool stuff from the other guys. Dacia Thoris, one of my favorite Disney princesses, back in comics. If you don't know about Warlord of Mars, you should definitely be checking out some cool stuff from Dynamite. Warlord of Mars and Dacia Thoris. They got all kinds of great titles. Cool sci-fi action there. And Bob's Burgers is my other Dynamite book. If you don't know anything about Bob's Burgers, you're missing out. Get on Netflix, grab these comics. Absolutely hilarious stuff. And Exo Manowar is my Valiant book of the week. Again, always encouraging you guys to have a Valiant book on your list. Exo, Bloodshot, Faith from last week is another big hit. Got a lot of cool titles. And of course, we've got their whole lineup in our lending library. You can read more about that in our newsletter as well. And as always, it's a great week for the all ages stuff. Great to see Disney Comics back in comic shops. Here's the latest issue of Walt Disney Comics with a cool Batman-esque Donald Duck cover. And speaking of Donald, there's the man himself, the original Angry Duck. Looney Tunes. Speaking of Angry Ducks, there's my man Daffy right there on the cover. Love me some Looney Tunes. And Regular Show rounds out my all ages books this week because I love Regular Show and so does my mom. Great stuff. Great week of books this week, so check those shipping lists, get down to your shop, pick up something super awesome. Want to mention that this weekend kicks off our publisher sales for February. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, everything Marvel Comics is 25% off. Come in, grab some books you might have been missing out on, or some trade paperbacks, toys, t-shirts, whatever it is for Marvel Comics is 25% off this weekend. We got different publishers on sale every weekend this month, so check our events calendar and come and hit those sales because it's a good time to pick up stuff that you might not normally follow. We all kind of stick in our publisher ruts, so get out there and discover something new on the cheap. It's a great time to do that. Particularly look for our Image sale. They have a ton of those $1 reprints. Grab those for 75 cents and find yourself a new Image title. That's all I got for you for this week. Check us out at blackcatcomics.biz. Check us out on Facebook. Check out our cool YouTube channel, or just get on down here to Rockin' Milpitas. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.